Pardon an interruption, this is Troy Hill with the Star Chronicles. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So if you're interested in making your own podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello, I'm Troy Hill with the Star Chronicles Cowboys Talk Podcast, sponsored by Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place, free, which you can use right from your phone or computer with creation tools that allow you to record and edit to get your show sounding glorious. They'll even distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can easily make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So what you need to do is download the Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Did I mention it was free?
The Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
Just Us Radio presents the Star Chronicles.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!
And goal. Elliott into the end zone.
And we're back. The Star Chronicles Cowboys Football Talk Podcast, episode 9. And unfortunately, it's not a victory we're celebrating here, people. So it's a little bit different. It's the first time of the year where we're going to talk about a loss. As we lost to the New Orleans Saints yesterday, of course, I have my co-hostess with the mostest, Lisa and Starstruck. How are you guys doing this evening?
Doing well on yourself, Troy.
I am hanging in there. How are you, Lisa?
Living the dream.
Living the dream. Okay, well, okay. It's good to dream. It's good to dream, people.
It's tainted a little bit after last night, but still the dream.
Nightmares count too, because nightmares are also dreams.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, nobody thought that we were going to go undefeated in the season. So, nobody on this show thought that. So we knew we were going to take an L here sooner or later. There's only one person in this particular show that predicted that L. But you'll have to go ahead and go back to the preseason when we did our preseason picks.
And I'm going to call you out because you know you wanted to change it last week.
But I didn't. And here we are. Face-to-face, talking about silver spoons. I believe that was the name of the show to my 80s TV show aficionados. But what is your thoughts overall, Lisa, on – let's just talk about the offensive side because we sucked on the offensive side of the ball. That's no secret. So what was your main thoughts on that particular part of the football game?
It just seemed real familiar in a really bad way. And, you know, we've all talked about it, and it was slow like before, but then it had moments where it looked like it was going to be okay, like at the beginning of the third quarter. And then between the bad turnovers and some bad calls, some calls were warranted, bad penalties, it just seemed like there was never really a rhythm established.
Yeah.
And you just stalled every single time.
Yeah, I can't say that. This team did shoot themselves in the foot several times throughout the football game, offensively and defensively. But what are your thoughts, Ron, on offense in general?
We basically flip-flopped the game from 2018. When you look back at the stats of what the Saints had, Alvin Kamara had like 11 carries for 36 yards in 2018. And then you look over to what we did this year, Ezekiel Elliott, 18 carries for 35 yards. Then you got Amari Cooper, 5 receptions for 48 yards. Last year, you had Michael Thomas, 5 receptions for 40 yards. We flipped.
And it's staggering, too, because looking at the game and not looking at box score stuff, it still looks like Amari Cooper had more receptions than that. I mean, doesn't it, though?
What do you mean?
I mean, to me, if I would have to guess a number, I think 5 would have been the lowest number I probably would have guessed. Because it just seemed like, well, maybe it's just because that was kind of like the only guy he was really throwing to.
Yeah, I do think, like we talked about a little bit in the group chat, I do think the absence of Michael Gallup is making a huge difference not for the worse.
Yes, I agree with that. And we got 2 more weeks on Michael Gallup?
Yeah, I'm thinking at least at the minimum.
Yeah, and here we are, got the Packers and Jets back to back. I mean, the Jets should be an easy game, but still, I mean, I want to
Yesterday should have been an easy game. Let's call it what it is.
I would rather have lost to the Jets, honestly.
Fair, me too.
I was a lot easier had we lost to the Jets and beat the Saints last night.
Well, I still slept like a baby and stuff. That's just me, though. That's just me. I know we've talked about this kind of off the show and kind of my little rants on the conversations we have amongst ourselves. And now this is just me. And I brought this point to Lisa, and she doesn't really agree, which is fine. I mean, that's a part of our show that we like, is because we're not all supposed to agree with each other, and we treat each other with respect with our opinions, just like it should be, like on a lot of these social media feeds. You see people at each other's throats all day long, but we're not that type of show. But to me, it seems like the only difference between the offense from this year and last year is 1, 2 different offensive coordinators. 2, the personnel's different. And 3, there's a lot of pre-snap stuff that's going on. Lots of motion. They are doing play action way more. But to me, it still seems like these are like the same plays with like some sprinkles on it or something. This is like the same donut, but we just added some sprinkles on it. But, I mean, that's just my perspective. I mean, because we all watch Cowboy football. We all know the plays that they run. We already know we'll see one thing that they're doing. We already know it's going to build to some other type of play 3 or 4 weeks down the road. We all know that. But can someone tell me specifically, without shadow of doubt, why you think the plays are completely different outside of what I just explained? Because to me, they just seem like they're the same. You
want to take this first, Lisa?
No, because I'm going to get feisty.
Okay. I'll jump in at it. And I'm going to look at it this way. To me, I really don't see a difference in the offense as of last night. Now, the only thing I didn't see different plays in the first few games, but what I did see was the execution was different. We look like we're a little bit more wide open, and I think partly based upon what we saw last night because the defenses we played, Giants, Dolphins, Redskins, they gave us those looks for us to hit. Devin down the field in that one game, Amari Cooper is slipping in between the zone and another. And so really, it really, as of last night, it looked like it was the same. The only thing was different is we had the pre-snap motions, like you said, which I think we really could have benefited a lot from had we seen a lot more of that on last night.
Well, yeah. I mean, not to cut you off, but we talked about this last season. It's like they're doing all the things that we wanted them to do last season. My question is, has they actually changed any of the plays, or is it just they're handling part of what we were asking for last year?
I'll throw this. Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
Bottom line, bottom line, you're not going to be able to completely get rid of it as long as Jason Garrett's here.
Yes, which is the underlying point that coaching, the head coach.
Yeah, because last night, if ever, and I'm not saying, I'm not totally 100, because we flat out got beat. There's just no way around it. And
Yes.
I'll take that L. I wear it like a champ. I talked bad to so many people today. I should probably be in a facility. But the thing
You think that's the only reason why? Go ahead.
Well, no,
I'll
that's
just go
just the
ahead.
one for today. That's just today's reason.
I kid my co-host.
Yeah,
I
no, it
kid.
doesn't bother me anyway. But I mean, like, and that's what I told you before we got on the air. Last night reeked of Jason Garrett. And I think because, I think part of it, as much as I don't want it to be about Sean Payton, there's a history there, and there's a gamesmanship I feel like it's increased a little bit because of the history there. And I'm not sure that they're not friends, in the off season, because I know Sean lives up here. And I mean, I just think there's an extra thing. And I think, in my opinion, Jason got out Jasoned. Or because Sean is a good coach. Sean is a good offensive coach, and he's good at motivating. And last night reeked of Jason Garrett.
True. But see, going back to that again, I mean, because I also made a comment that the Cowboys' victory, as far as my emotion level, as far as like my pulse, is literally the same after the Cowboys won against Miami and them taking the L to the Saints. Because I'm telling you right now, if they would have played the Saints and a higher caliber team than Miami, we'd be 2-2 right now. I really do 100% believe that. Because I didn't see the play. I mean, okay, if the plays, I just think Miami was that terrible last week.
That's fair, but at the same time, you got to look, if you want to say that, you got to look back at all of Miami's first halves.
True.
They were close against the Patriots. They were close yesterday against the Chargers. They were close against us. They were close in pretty much all of them, except for I don't think they were really ever close in the Ravens one in the very beginning. But
0-0.
Oh, at the well, yeah, when it started, yeah. And so, and as far as like our personnel being different, okay, yes, we have Travis back, and I think that does make a big difference, even though I feel like he struggled a little bit yesterday. And I just feel like as the team overall, I mean, even the defense, I feel like it's hard for me. I'm kind of like you, Troy, in that as good as the defense played, I felt weird about it and I think the drive, honestly, the one drive that killed the entire game was, I think it might've been at the beginning of the fourth, I think it was the beginning of the fourth. Their drive was 9 minutes.
Yeah, because see, that's the thing. That's the thing, exact thing I'm talking about. Yes, they held them to 12 points, but that was a lot of bend and don't break 12 points right there.
And as much
it
as
wasn't a dominating 12
and with
points.
The way the offense was struggling in that moment, you needed a stop to get the ball back. I think it was maybe at the end of the third going into the fourth, because we had that drive in the third where we really ran it right. I mean, we took the ball right down the field, we scored. Okay, here we go. I was like, okay, here's the team that we've been watching for 3 weeks. Like, and then it was just that drive that New Orleans had that took 9 minutes killed everything.
Yes. And before we dive into like defense full, because I know there's a lot of sports opinions that we have on that. Are we done with the offensive side?
Let's see.
I think well, my argument and your guys' argument, I think there's merit to all of it. So I don't think any of us are like exactly wrong or exactly right. I'm just saying that we need to keep an eye on this thing. Because if we go through another week of this, I'm going to be 100% certain that we're basically just putting some sprinkles on top of a donut from last year, offensively. Yeah. That we haven't really changed much. It's just just a guy in a brand new suit.
I mean, if you go back and look at the offseason reports, though, during camp, when the guys were being interviewed, Dak specifically, he said the offense really hasn't changed. That was I've got to go back and find the article, but he said it verbatim that it really hasn't changed. It just has a little bit of a different look to it. And I think that was the pre-snap type stuff. And we saw that last
Yes.
night, that it is.
And you figure that out in a three or 4 weeks worth of tape. You figure that out.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going against Sean Payton. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's just my opinion. And I mean, we'll see where it lies.
But there were also a lot of weird things that happened on offense that don't normally happen, i.e., Jason Witten fumbling.
Yeah.
Zeke, the fumble, no fumble.
Yeah.
And I don't care what you say, his elbow was down.
Yeah, it was down.
But whatever. Yeah. And sometimes you're going to get those bad calls. The calls are not going to go in your favor. But the
the only thing is with the tape, I agree with you with the elbow being down, but still the way they got that caveat in the rule.
No, I get it. No, I totally get it.
If there's not enough to turn,
but to me, there was
not enough.
His elbow was down before the ball started moving, and to me, it was an easy call. But clearly, I'm not an official. But the other thing that I thought was really weird that I thought were two drive killers were the two offensive PIs by
oh my goodness, Amari Cooper.
I don't know. Did y'all happen to see Jesse Holly's take on this, which I thought was very interesting?
I thought it was a little ticker take. I mean, for me, I didn't think there was anything.
Okay, so let me get y'all's opinion on this. Let me ask y'all's opinion on this to see if you think this kind of thing really happens. I personally, yes, I do believe it happens. So Jesse Holly on Twitter today, he made a comment that the two pass interference calls on Amari were coaching induced. And at first I was like, how in the world can coaching influence that? But then he clarified in a video. He said, not Dallas coaching influenced, but Sean Payton. I was like, what?
Are you saying a flop? Are you talking? Is that what you're saying?
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that that's not what Jesse said. Jesse said his thing was that when coaches watch enough film, they begin to pick up on the habits and the tendencies of the receivers, even if it's not egregious. So like in Amari's case, he's running these hard routes. You know, there's a hard stop and a hard turn or whatever that looks like, to where there may be some contact, but it's not a full push off. Mm-hmm. But so when all the pleasantries are being exchanged between the coaches and the officials and welcome to New Orleans and blah, 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 and whatever, then Sean says, hey, listen, you got to watch 1-9. He's pushing off on every play. So then even if the official doesn't see it or wouldn't have normally seen it, now he's watching for it either consciously or unconsciously. You know what I mean? And so because to get one offensive pass interference in a game is pretty rare, but to get two, you might as well buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
And I'm interested, when I heard that take, I was like, I got to take that to the guys tonight and see what they think. Do you think things like that can really matter like that?
I can say, just from my personal observation, one out of those two penalties, I think Lattimore sold getting pushed way harder than what he was. Because it looked like his whole bottom half of his body buckled down under one of them. So that's the reason why I was asking the flop question. Because it looked like he sold like a lot more of what was really going on in one of those instances.
I said the same thing. To see that happen twice. I mean, the last time I seen something like this was probably Michael Irvin back in the 90s. And you knew he did it because you saw his arms extend. I didn't see that with Amari Cooper, arms extended. I saw him kind of wave the arm, as he was trying to avoid the contact from the defender who was trying to, jam him up. And he was trying, to swipe away from him. But I never saw that arm extension, like to push off, to push away, to get that separation. Because the guy doesn't need that. I mean, he doesn't need push off. His routes are that crisp. So
No, he's an excellent route runner for sure. So that's another reason why the two calls were a little shocking for me anyways. I saw comments on social media that people were saying that Ezekiel Elliott seemed to be lost, which I think is just ridiculous. They're saying he was constantly asking what was going on in audibles, with the crowd volume noise, especially
in an audible, you're going to if you don't hear, you're going to ask what you're supposed to be doing or what the play is. I think that's just some nonsense that our fan base likes to work up just to get conversations going to stuff that doesn't even make no sense. What is your thoughts on that? Because I don't think he had anywhere to run. I don't think it was no issue of him being lost. I don't think there's no issue of him being out of shape. I don't think there's no issue about him not being in preseason, because we could all put our hands together, one hand, all of us, and touch him, and not count how many times with our fingers how many carries he's had in preseason. We would still have like 5 fingers. We still have one hand left. So what is people? One, do you think he was lost yesterday? And two, what's up with the people's short-term memory not realizing that Zeke doesn't do nothing in preseason anyways?
I don't know if it's that he was. I don't know if I want to label it as being lost, but there could be some impact. And no, he does not get touches in the preseason, but what he does do in the preseason is typically he's present, and he was not present when a lot of these practices were going on to get any type of rhythm with the team. Now, I think there might be a rhythm issue.
No, but these people were stating basically that, he doesn't know the playbook or anything. Yeah. All these players have the playbook. That was just
that's just people thinking that the playbook has completely changed. So, but
which I tried to explain that too. Yeah. I mean, as much as the offense done changed, Troy and stuff this preseason, Zeke should have been there. I'm like, you realize the playbook hasn't changed much at all.
And even if it had, if you don't believe that they didn't send it to him, that's dumb.
Yeah, it's dumb, and people still, no one's talked about yet still. Yeah. This camera crew was with him during his holdout the whole dang time he was in Cabo. Yeah. The whole time. Jerry Jones makes a comment, Zeke who? Zeke signs, comes back next day. Guess what you got? Zeke who t-shirts. Yeah. Everybody buys the stuff up like it's just like hotcakes. Just wait till that DVD comes out and stuff when, they were already when he was in Cabo. That's probably going to come out maybe like around Thanksgiving time. All proceeds go to Salvation Army, some stuff like that, which is a very, 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 very good cause. But I'm telling you, Zeke was going to be signed before the first week, regardless.
Well, but that has,
that was a scam.
Well,
that's what that was.
Still, the fact, I've never been to the Superdome, but I know how loud it was when I was in Denver. I was standing 18 inches from my aunt, and I could not hear a word she was saying. And that's an open air stadium. So to be inside there and knowing how that fan base in New Orleans last night was their Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Granted, I know that they want to go to the real thing and this and that.
Oh, of course.
But for that fan base, that was their Super Bowl last night. So to be in there, and
trust me, there's a lot of teams in the NFL that play the Cowboys. It is their Super Bowl too.
No, I get that, but that fan base, for whatever reason, they've made it out to be something that it's just not, and they've made it into a rivalry that we're like, who are you? Like, I don't.
Yep.
You are a non. I was about to curse the big ones just then. You are a non-factor. Like, okay, you won last night. Okay, whatever. But like, that's the thing. I think like with Ron too. I was like, I'd rather have lost to Miami last week than to lose to the Saints last night.
Yeah. But you know what? This whole thing about them trying to make it seem like it's some rivalry. Well, about 50% of our fan base, they fall for that nonsense too, because they're the ones sitting there marching down Bourbon Street saying we're taking
honestly,
over.
But they do that in every city.
This thing,
honestly, and that's the
reason
reason why
into a rivalry. It has. People may not want to admit it, but 49ers, Texans, and you can go ahead and add the Saints on. This thing has snuck up and became a rivalry. I have talked personally to people that I know, friends of mine that have been Cowboy fans and have I don't even want to say jump the fence, because they were actually from Louisiana. They were from Louisiana, but they were from the northern part of Louisiana, and they were Cowboy fans. But when Katrina hit, a lot of those guys was like, hey, my family's down there, and the Saints were playing, and they really, really homered
So it's
out and turned
it's
into
convenient to me that you want to be a Cowboys fan when you're the Aints,
yeah,
but now that the Aints have
yeah,
become the real grown-up
yeah,
Saints, now you want to jump back on that
yeah.
bandwagon.
And that's what
That's
you
very
have.
true.
That's what you have. That fan base when Katrina hit, and then the Super Bowl happened shortly thereafter that. That fan base
Exactly.
strengthened and it became a split between families and households. I mean, I shared it on one of my posts recently that even in Dak Prescott's family, Dak grew up a Cowboys fan, but had one of his brothers was actually a Saints fan. And that's just in his household. But then his barber, he gets his hair cut there in Louisiana. His barber is a Saints fan. Like I said, I've talked about my friends, and that state line is right there. I'm originally from the East Coast, and so I know about state line rivalries, and this thing has morphed into that because of the Katrina, the Super Bowl, the closeness of the team. And I tell you, we're pretty close. Had they realigned, we could have been in the same division had they decided to put the Cowboys where I think they probably should have went in the NFC South. But they
Mhm.
wanted to keep the Giants,
Well,
Redskins,
yeah,
and all that together. And
yeah, because we are,
yeah,
in a
yeah,
geography
yeah,
standpoint, are where we're placed in the division is pretty
yeah.
dumb, but it's
But
very
we'll
dumb
continue to run
actually.
the East.
But
We'll continue to run
oh,
it. We'll stay in it just to
of
run it.
course, it doesn't change anything. But okay, let's go. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball and look at that a little bit more. I mean, it seems like me and Lisa are on the same page that even them holding them to 12, and just in my mind, it just didn't seem like it was 12. It could have been anything. What is wrong with our defense? I know the offense is like the hot topic of the week, but please people don't forget about the defense because something's still not right. How many sacks does Tank Johnson have? Or did I say Tank Johnson? Oh, Jesus. How many? Yeah, that was 10 years ago. How many sacks does Mr. Lawrence have right
I'm
now?
gonna say he's still stuck on 2.
Yeah,
Okay,
two and a half.
Okay, I thought he was at 1 because then I was going to say how many sacks does Taco Charlton have? But anyways, I regress. Is it just me or this Quinn guy? He just seems like he got it all going on and stuff here right now.
But I'm gonna say pump the brakes a little bit.
I know because for what we talked about last week and stuff, we know that sacks don't come like we want them to do, like it's a video game. But
No.
still.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, like,
okay.
on Robert Quinn, for sure, he is playing well. And he's much better than I thought he was going to be. Like, I didn't really know what to expect, but it wasn't that, coming into this season. But I do feel like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's celebrate it. He's playing well. But, like, there's a reason. Now, Miami giving him up, I don't know what they were doing with some of their offseason stuff anyway, so that may not can be a good benchmark. But
No,
there's
they
a
just
reason,
don't want to win.
Well, there's a reason they only took a 6th for him. So, I mean, maybe he just needed a new place. He needed, renewed whatever. He's playing well, but he's also not the focus of the defense. And this has nothing to do with Tank. And I don't think Tank was double teamed much at all, if at all, last night. But it's more than just Tank, in my opinion, in this defense. Like I saw Leighton was behind a couple of times last night that he could have stopped play, them picking up some 3rd and shorts. And Leighton seemed to be not slow, but just a step behind. And it seems to be across the board. I love the fact that we're not breaking at the end, but at the same time, like I said earlier, that 9-minute drive killed everything.
I'm at the point where we've been part of plenty of seasons of bend and don't break. And we remember the personnel that we had, the Jason Hatchers, not a bad player at all, actually very cool guy. He lives off in this area here. But, we had players like that you knew that's what they were, bend and don't break. we got too much talent on this team to not even be in a situation of even bending. We should be just taking out everything right now.
But I don't know that we're. I don't know that it's. I don't know. I don't know that it is that yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just look at this, the personnel we have, and granted there's a couple players that are out. I just don't see why it seems like, again, even at giving up 12 points, it just seemed like it was just like opposite land. It's like we struggled, it seemed like still. I mean, just think about how many first contacts we got behind the yard of scrimmage. Maybe maybe 1 yard down the field, and they can't stop him. All of a sudden the guy spins out and he runs like another 7 or 8 yards. It's like we're not stopping anybody where we were stopping them at. Like even last year before, the Rams.
I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at the stats I hear what you're saying, but I think the defense did their job for the most part, other than the fact that what I say has always been missing is we just don't force enough turnovers. Because what was key in last night's game? The 2 turnovers that we had. We had the 1 interception that kind of flipped momentum early on in the game, but after that, there really wasn't anything. We need takeaways. We need an aggressive defense that not only just sacks. I'm thankful. Hear me out. I'm thankful for Robert Quinn. He's got 3 sacks. DeMarcus Lawrence 2.5. The thing is, though, I would love to start seeing some strip sacks. When someone gets hit, the ball
like Mac.
somewhere.
You see the highlight of Mac yesterday. Yeah, I would like to see some of that
see
too.
The ball.
That's a grown man.
Quarterback looking one way.
He is.
Guy hits him from behind. Ball flies out, or the old DeMarcus Ware, the strip sack. That's what we need. Turnovers anywhere. The Saints went after that football after Zeke got the first down. They went after that football, and that's where we don't have that aggression.
Do you think that's what it is? Like maybe that's the reason why I'm at where I'm at, and maybe Lisa might be partially there also, just because we're not getting those turnovers. We're not seeing a turnover.
Well, but I think too, those particular kind of turnovers, like he's talking about, those change the whole. Because it's nasty.
True.
And it takes the whole will. A strip sack, whether you advance it or not, it takes the whole will from the other team. I mean, because it's like bam, bam, your quarterback got hit, sacked, we got the ball, let's go. Like it's usually aggressive and it's momentum changing and it's that whole rah thing and you get fired up. We had and even like if you go back to the Saints game last year, we had a lot of what I call splash plays, like hits behind the line of scrimmage, or that, the hit on Kamara as he's running out of bounds, and Jalen Smith catching people from behind, and things like that really got your team energized. For me, it feels like I read the statistics, Ron, like you gave out, and then I go what I feel. I feel like the defense got their asses handed to them, but then I look at the stats and I'm like, wait a second. Like those two I can't reconcile those right now. And I think that's where my issue comes in.
Yes. Because it's just like what I'm seeing and the numbers don't match.
And I'm telling you why that is. Because to me, I felt the team played it safe. They played a keep everything in front of you mentality. Just keep everything in front of you. And that's what they did.
Everything except for Michael Thomas on 3rd and 9.
Yeah, except for that. Yeah. But that was just that one little thing, and he went off, didn't quite have 100 yards. But the thing is that they were keeping everything and don't get beat. Don't let anybody get by you. Okay, yeah, they broke a couple of tackles. But for the most part, it's like they played it safe. Nobody really took a gamble. Like the hit on Michael Thomas, it forced the interception. It was good. But had somebody had been a little step, it could have been a pick in front of it, but it was off of a hit. And I think the reason what I'm trying to really say is the defense appears to be more reactive than proactive. And yesterday it paid off with Heath with that hit. It popped the ball out. And I like to see more of that. But to me, it seems like we're a step off. We're being more reactive to the football than proactive. And I would like to see us stepping in front of stuff, taking it back the other way. The strip sack, when you come in and you hit the quarterback, have that arm coming across at the same exact time. And again, to me, that goes what we touched on a little bit of coaching.
Yes.
So okay, so then where's the feisty, fiery Chris Richard that we fell in love with last year?
Case in point, right? I got a perfect example for you right now. If I was watching Cowboys football last year and I fell into a coma and I would have woke up just before this game started yesterday, I would have thought that we were still in season last year. That's what I'm telling you right now. I'm like, oh, great. I woke up in time for Cowboy football. I didn't miss any of the season. Wait, this is next year? That's what I'd be like. Right now, if you had no knowledge of football and all you had was what the staff was last year, looking at yesterday, you'd be like, Linehan, I just need to do something with him.
And I think some guys are playing hurt also. I can't speak for the offensive side of the ball, but that could be our defense's issue, why people appear to be playing it safe and more reactive than pro. I think some guys are out there banged up. We know for a fact Xavier Woods is out there banged up. Even LVE looked like he was limping around slightly on one of the hits. I think,
and Tank too.
Yes, I think some people out there.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Tank is 100%. I don't know that this year. I mean, shoulder surgery or whatever. That's not fun. It takes a while to get right. I mean, your range of motion is different.
Byron Jones.
It makes
also.
it makes you move different.
Byron Jones.
That's true.
So we got some guys playing.
So maybe they'll turn it up. As the season goes on further. I hope they turn it up like right away for next week, because that brings us to the Green Bay Packers.
Ugh.
And I can raise my hand, and I mean, I'll give like a little background. Born and raised in a small town called Southwood, Illinois. Right on the border of Illinois and Wisconsin. Family consists of probably like about 70-30 Cowboy to Bear ratio as fanship goes. So most of my family is Cowboy fans. Spent a lot of time in Wisconsin, obviously, since I could kick a football over in their state. But I can tell you one thing, rest assured, I don't talk trash about teams. It's just not my style. But I will say this. I hate the Packers more so than any professional football team. Single-handedly. And I want this W more than anything.
And you'll get
it. I hope so. I'm just making sure. I mean, I don't want them rolling out like they rolled out. I don't want them rolling out what they rolled out yesterday.
I can't guarantee that. It may start slow.
If they do, we'll get rolled.
It may start slow. I don't know. I don't agree with that.
I mean, I will say
you're telling me that if we roll out the hot garbage we rolled out with yesterday, we won't get rolled?
Look, have you looked at? Well, I know Troy hasn't. But have you looked at any of Green Bay's games?
No.
Green Bay's offense is not looking so hot these first few games of the season.
I have heard that their defense is not that good neither, and I heard they don't run the ball. They typically pass.
They are passing a lot. There's no – I mean, of course they'll probably somehow stumble across a running game this week. But up until this point, it's been pretty much non-existent. Aaron Rodgers just been throwing everything all over the place. And so I think it may start slow just because we start slow. But Green Bay's offense, I don't see it. It's going to probably be another slow rolling in the beginning, but us pulling away late. Well, I don't know. Maybe this is a wake-up game. We jump on them early, like we did the Giants last season with the bombs and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care how it happens. I just really need this W to happen. I mean, this is plain and simple. I just don't like them. There are people probably like, well, what about the Eagles? Well, I hate them too, but still on the list. I'm sorry, the Packers are just a little bit higher on that list, but I can't stand. I mean, it's just I just don't like them. I mean, just imagine, being in the 90s or 80s and stuff, and you're watching a church program and stuff on TV, and you see like the reverend with a cheese head on his head and stuff in the middle of church. It's like little things like that that would irritate me. Other things that irritate me, a church burns down, terrible thing. Reggie White offers donations and stuff for this church to be rebuilt. None of that money was ever seen. But go Pack, go! Am I right, everybody? Mark Chimera at a prom. No charges and stuff ever thrown onto anyone. But everyone's worried about what Michael Irvin's doing. I mean, the stories I could tell you.
It seems like it runs pretty deep there, Troy.
Yeah, no, it does. It just does, because, I mean, when you grow up there and you live there, you get flack for everything the Cowboys are doing, and they just got, like the earth burning right behind them, and nobody acknowledges or says anything. It's completely different. James Lofton, people. Anyways, they did do something about that. But still, I mean, I just can't stand that whole organization. So,
there's only one that I can't stand, and I've made that very clear.
That's Aaron Rodgers. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I'll lovingly refer to him as A.A. Ron.
The thief of the discount double check. Freddie Mitchell should be trying to get a royalty for that. Can't stand Freddie Mitchell neither, but I'm for justice, people. I'm for justice. Even if I don't like an individual.
So you really think, Bron, that you really think this is going to be a walkaway win? Or you just think it's going to be a win?
I don't think it's going to be a walkaway.
Interesting. Just because the simple fact you got Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the ball, I think it's going to be hard to be a walkaway. I don't know. It just might, because it was a few seasons ago when we had DeMarco Murray, when we ran up the score all up and down them that one season. It could very well turn into like a 30-17 type game.
I don't.
I hope it's like.
I want it to be a blowout, because I don't want to be. Hey, you guys are going to leave me 35 seconds to try and come back in the fourth quarter. Okay, all right, hold my cheddar cheese or whatever Wisconsin people eat. Lived there all those years, still don't know what they eat.
We're playing regular season Packers.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a difference between regular season Packers.
But that SOB plays
he
well
does.
in this stadium.
He'll be like hold my old Milwaukee and watch what I'm getting ready to do.
Packers. We're playing regular season Packers.
Okay.
I think we've won the last two against them in the regular season. Postseason, we've lost the last two.
I just can't stand them. And they make my TV screen look real ugly with those ridiculous colors they wear on my TV. Maybe I'll watch the game in black and white. I just can't stand them. So, Lisa can't stand one individual. I can't stand whole organization.
What's the key to victory?
Do we have 5 points we're going to give off? Are we going to give off the save keys for every team in the NFL to win a game? Or is that what we're doing now? We must
for this team, and I don't know enough about. I mean, I think A.A. Ron thought his defense was better. I feel like that was proven otherwise last week when they played the Eagles. Run it until Zeke's legs fall all the way off, and then you're fine.
And keep on running.
Yeah, that's true. So that's the 1 point to victory. Okay, all right. I thought we were going to counter figures.
Go run down
run
the run the ball.
One, we must run the ball effectively. 2, we must control the clock.
Yes.
3, we must not give up no turnovers. Yes. 4, we need consistency on defense. 5, we need to get some turnovers.
6.
Did I just give away the game?
Amari Cooper, put him in motion, keep him moving around, which we did not do enough of against the Saints. Mm-hmm. If Lattimore is sticking him that tight, we should have been running him in motion, putting him in slot, putting him all over the field and letting him have momentum going coming off the line. We did not do that. I saw him stationary for the majority of the game. Therefore, I would like to see a lot more motion out of him this week.
Yeah. No, you raised
If
the
the
X there.
defense
I mean,
is playing him tough like that, I want to see him moving.
Do they have cornerbacks like Marshawn Lattimore?
Marshawn Lattimore had his best game of the
neither.
season last year because he's been giving up yards like a mofo the first 3 weeks of the season.
Well, they say he plays up to his competition.
Yeah, that sucks too. Yeah, that kind of sucks. But I don't know. I mean, I just really want the Cowboys to win this game.
I want to see some screens going on. Didn't see that. Want to see some screens. Yep.
Yeah, screens would be nice. I mean, we did
RPO.
see the we did see the infamous quickly. We saw the infamous a couple of weeks ago we saw a couple of weeks ago we saw Zeke Elliott running off into a sweep, and he's like faking the pitch out to the receiver coming around the back end. Well, they finally did stage 2 of that play yesterday, where they actually handed it off to Tavon. 2 weeks from now, expect for whatever receiver to get that reverse to throw that ball into the end zone or to Jason. Play they ran with Des Bryant to Jason Witten, 3 or 4 seasons ago.
Be sexy.
Yeah, but it just goes back to my point that we haven't really changed anything. We're still doing the stuff that we've been doing. It just looks a little slightly different, but we'll see. Do we have anything else we'd like to add to this presentation?
I think I'm good.
I think the other topic we were going to talk about, we may need to
and
save
that's a
for
good
next
one.
week.
It's like one of those personal ones and stuff, you know. We talk about our childhood memories, maybe.
Where the sappy music starts playing in the background.
Well, the only music I can think of in my mind right now is the Dallas theme song playing, because that was like my stuff back when I was a kid. I'm like, yeah, it's time. But actually, I think it was a good show. We had a good time. Lots of valid points. Like I said, I mean, we're not claiming that we're 100% right or anything, but we're just like throwing ideas out there. Maybe some of the listeners have kind of think the same thing about some of our thought processes, which is kind of cool. If you have any questions about the show, go ahead and send us an email at the Star Chronicles .com. You can also find us at the Star_Chronicles on IG. Check out our posts. If you got questions, comment within the posts. We got a very friendly people here that will typically comment. So, yeah, go ahead. Do that. Send us some DMs. Ask some questions about some football. Dallas Cowboy football. I mean, you can ask the other two about other teams, because I don't watch any other team play. And I feel
I
good
do.
for that, because unlike some, there's a term that people say, what is it, F your team or something like that. I'm the epitome. Watch any other team play, period. See there? I'm the definition. That being said, Joe Jones on Bourbon Street, good idea, bad idea?
We didn't win.
Jones.
So.
The what on Bourbon Street?
We didn't win, so hindsight.
Yeah, that's the football gods. Don't be sitting there doing. That's what the football. If you believe in, I'm superstitious about some things, and the football guys did not dig that at all. So, you're breathing in some extra air, but I'm telling you, soon when we start, wearing our butt in our heads like it's a hat, that's when bad things happen. Every single time.
Okay, then give me an example of when that doesn't happen with a lot of this fan base.
Okay, when it doesn't
Don't worry,
happen?
I'll wait. It's pretty much a year-round ass hat
When we were
thing.
losing games left and right, and nobody said anything. No one started wanting to talk again until we won like 4 or 5 games in a row. And then all of a sudden, the idiots came back out again. Oh, we're winning again. I'm telling you, it's true.
Okay.
I'm telling you, the circus comes out when you put like 3 or 4 wins together. They're all like die hard all of a sudden again. So, anyways, On behalf of myself, Ron, a.k.a. the Starstruck Fan, and Lisa, we bid you guys adieu, and go Cowboys as always, and let the Packers come on down here and punch them dead in the throat. Yes, would you like to say goodbye to the people, Lisa?
Goodbye, and be careful.
Cowboys
Aaron
back in
Rodgers.
traditional white this week.
Good.
And 4-1 Cowboys after this weekend.
And I also would like to share that Lisa's far more passionate person than I am, because at least she tried to wish Aaron Rodgers well.
No, it was a threat.
Oh, okay. Well, it's kind of like tweet. I couldn't tell either way. So it's kind of in between, you know. Some people might interpret it differently. Like two guys walking on the street and be like, I think she threatened me. Oh, no, she did. She was wishing you well. So we'll figure that out. But anyways, see you guys next week. The Star Chronicles.